taking an extra pausing breath on this very special day for me and for Vernon as we re-enter into our wonderful everyday life and everyday community. It is my privilege and my pleasure to say, Happy Sunday after Thanksgiving, beautiful people. I am Reverend Vicky Jeter, your minister for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, and it is absolutely such a great joy to be here with you today, following up from this fabulous time of vacation that we've had. We welcome you here on this Sunday, November 30th, 2025. Louisville Center for Spiritual Living welcomes you to our community with special thanksgiving for your presence and all that we have been given and received through each other. We welcome all paths to God. We welcome your challenges and your questions, all pieces and paths of spirit, all areas of our lives and all parts of ourselves are essential to a world that works for all. So whether you're here with us for the first time or if you're watching us on YouTube, we thank you for being with us because you are why we're here. And today, we're putting the cherry on top of a rich and potent month of gratitude supported by deepening our willingness and ability to forgive. Before I forget, let me just take a little pause here. Believe it or not, we made it through the whole 2-week thing, going practically around the world, and neither one of us were harried in any way. And we got to the last 2 days of our vacation with our family, and we both came down with bronchitis. So we're not sick now. All is well. There are no worries. And you're probably going to hear a lot of throat clearing, and I have some lozenges, and we're just going to float through it. So, for Vernon and I, this is a prime opportunity for us to live gratitude expressed because we have been so blessed and so gifted by everything we experienced while we were gone, which would not have been possible without each and every one of you really holding the space for us to do that. And so just thank you, thank you, thank you. And we went away knowing that the center was in perfectly good hands. And of course, you all know it unfolded famously. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I would like for you all to join me in one more time acknowledging the team of Katrina, Doug Iveson, and Reverend Carolyn, who was the speaker while we were away. And thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Now, in other news, today is yet another important opportunity for us to come together in prayer. Since I have come back, just in the last couple of days, I've gotten feedback from a number of people in various areas of my life about the incident that occurred for the National Guardsmen in Washington, D.C. And I did orient myself to that situation, and I'm aware of how profoundly sensitive that had struck people. And so I just want to name that into the room and know that we're holding as a community, once again, how we all impact each other. We're all each other's demonstrations. And so holding that in prayer for ourselves and for everyone who has been impacted by that. So checking in to see what brought you personally to be with us today, because it's all in the mix. Take a moment for yourself. Take that pausing breath and know with me as I recognize one life, one love, one infinite presence that emerges as all that is right here, right now. Our very breath, our every thought, the field of our feelings and emotions, and everything that manifests of it. There is nowhere that the omnipresence, omniscience, and omnipotence of God is not. And we welcome that presence here consciously. I open my mind, heart, and soul as a vessel of spirit for this message today. And I simply say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God, for everything that will come of this and more. I simply release it. I let it be. And so it is. And this brings us to our opening song, Morning Prayer by Karen Drucker.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day, and I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
And of course, this opens us to our mission and vision. The mission of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind and celebrating all paths to God, which manifests our vision of a world that honors and respects all people. So, of course, we know that we have to apply all of this in order for it to apply to us. So, this is our financial declaration of principles for this week. Universal law as applies to abundance. Say with me, if you will, please. I believe that money operates in accordance with universal law. Therefore, I know I am prospered by my understanding of right use of the law. And more applicable to what we're going to be talking about today, let me just say I am well aware that this is longer than most of our applications of what we believe. However, this is as was inspired. So, say with me, if you will. We reach for our soul to embrace perfection. This is called spirituality. When we arrive at our soul, we reach for our personality to embrace the splendor of our imperfection. This is called compassion. We see imperfection in ourselves and others as a beautiful opportunity, like parents who love their children not only in spite of their imperfections, but because of them. If I could, I would have you all print that out and placard it somewhere where you could read it to yourself regularly, because I sincerely believe that that is part of how Spirit sees us. And with that, it is my great joy to turn this over to our practitioner of the week, Miss Tammy Ellis.
Thank you, Reverend Vicky. It is my honor to be your prayer practitioner of the week. And I love that last statement about compassion. And compassion is very important in life for myself and others. And on the note of compassion, today for the reading, this is from the book called Offbeat Prayers for the Modern Mystic. This was written by someone that Reverend Vicky and I know, by Reverend Ann Sermons Gillis. She went to Creative Life down in Spring, Houston area with us when we used to go there. So I was just delighted to find this reading about forgiveness today. The root word for forgive means to release. Forgiveness is not a technique to excuse behavior. It is a tool that allows us to release the inner harm we cause when we hold on to anger and resentment. Years of holding on to grudges causes tissue damage in our bodies. We forgive people and ourselves so that we don't have to pay the price of our own upset, anger, resentment. We forgive ourselves and other people, because when we let ourselves and others off the hook, we let ourselves off the hook. Usually, the things that bother us about other people can be the very traits that we have but hide from ourselves. Forgiveness is a tool to restore our minds to greater peace. It doesn't have anything to do with the other person. It's an inner journey. And today, let's take just a nice few deep breaths as we move into our meditation today. This meditation I developed with Divine Spirit by watching a beautiful TED Talk with Mary Morrissey. If you haven't had a chance to listen to her, she's amazing. How she experienced self-forgiveness, self-love, and healing in her life. Let's take another nice, easy, deep breath, just nice and slow, in and out. And just notice your chest and your belly rise as you breathe. Breathing in, and just notice how easy your breath can release out. How your body just automatically breathes with you and for you. I invite you to close your eyes, or if you'd like to find a place for your eyes to settle on. And I invite you to bring to your mind, to your heart, a time when you felt love for another human being or animal friend. See them and just feel the love. Breathe in the love that you're feeling into your heart space. And now I invite you to bring to your mind's eye and feel in your heart a time when you felt love and acceptance for yourself. Just breathe the love into your heart and let it flow from your heart down to your toes and up into your head. With being human, it can be part of life to just have things happen that we may need forgiveness for letting go, so we don't hold it inside our bodies, hearts, minds, internally. Now, as you stay in touch with the feeling of love and acceptance for yourself, I invite you to this forgiveness process if you so choose. Please invite yourself to now become aware of something that you would like to forgive yourself for. Easily, just letting go of whatever that is with ease. Just bring that to your mind. As you have that in mind, just allow yourself to feel compassion and love and acceptance for yourself for simply being human. It's progress, not perfection, in our life journey. Now, if you so choose, please use these words and say these words to yourself. Now I allow myself to be willing to let go, to forgive this, what came to my mind, to forgive myself for. Please fill in the blank or what you came up with yourself. I now say to myself with love, compassion, and acceptance, I forgive you. I allow myself to let go of any heaviness or anything that I experienced from holding this in my body. Simply saying now, I let this go with ease. Let's take another few deep breaths, nice and slow, in and just releasing what you just forgave yourself for, what you let go. Just let it release off and it just dissipates. The energy of it just goes away, dissipates in the air. Another deep breath, nice deep, slow breath in and release. Just letting go, just as easy as letting a breath go out. I am willing to take more time with my wonderful self, with divine source, with this type of process whenever needed. As I allow forgiveness and letting go, I am open to feeling freer, lighter, experiencing more peace, and whatever else I so choose. With having this cleared out, I have so much more room to simply enjoy life and all I am grateful for in my life. Please put your hand on your heart and now say to yourself what you would like to experience more of. Breathe it in, see it happening. Let your body experience it, your heart, your emotions, your soul, your mind. Just bring in what you're now saying. I would like more of this now. I choose more of this now. Breathe it in and release. As we move to coming out of this meditation, I invite you to write down anything that came to you that you'd like to remember. And now I say to myself, thank you for being willing to let go and forgive as a wonderful gift to myself. Breathe in, breathing in that gift, and breathing out, letting go. And now when you're ready, if you like to just move your feet a little bit, your hands, move your neck a little bit, open your eyes when you're ready. Thank you for doing this process with me. And so it is. And as we move from this meditation to this beautiful, special music, I hope you enjoy Healed, Whole, and Healthy Soul Light Music Ministry cover of Karen Drucker.
Healed, whole, healed, whole, healed, whole, well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I relax and visualize. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well, I am well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I relax and visualize. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well, I am well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I accept and I receive. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well, I am well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. Angels are watching over me. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well, I am well. Healed, whole, healed, whole, healed, whole, well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I've got love surrounding me. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well, I am well. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I've got love surrounding me. I am healed, whole, and healthy. I am well, I am well. All is well. I am well, I am well. All is well. I am well. Thinking about you, Paula Mandela. All is well. I am well. 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 All is well. I like that.
So this brings us to the introduction of today's talk. I know you all heard the name Mary Morrissey spoken, and I know that last week Reverend Carolyn focused on oh, her name's not going to come to me now, but the woman that we know talks about how what's in our field manifests in our bodies, and Carolyn gave her story, And this week we're going to work with Mary Morrissey's story. This is all related to living examples of radical gratitude and radical forgiveness and how it all works together. Go ahead with, you take the slide down, Fran. So significantly important. I am healed, whole, and healthy. It's the same way when we really work with that thought as a foundation and saying that what we are is light, life, love, peace, power, beauty, and joy. I am healed, whole, and healthy. This is true regardless of what is manifesting in our human practical experience. It all adds up together, and I'm not saying there's anything about it that doesn't matter, that doesn't have significance, but it's so incredibly important that we make the distinction spiritually that we are always those universal qualities of being, and in that light, we are always healed, whole, and healthy. And when we practice that being the locus of where we stay on a spiritual level, which is the point of first cause, no matter what's going on, spirit is first and only cause. When we stay there and we stay open to being guided and directed by spirit, everything else then unfolds. And it may be a deep mystery in human terms. Things happen, as was mentioned in the reading and so forth today. Life happens, and life's going to happen regardless of how diligent we are in our spiritual practices, because we are living in the third dimension. We are living in the spiritual classroom, and we're here to learn about how all that works. So it doesn't mean that life isn't going to happen. But what it does mean is that no matter what's happening in physical terms, when we are grounded in knowing that there is divine perfection unfolding, then we're always available to the highest and best, even when we are lost about what that looks like. So now, I know that many of you are familiar with a story that I'm going to share today from Mary Morrissey's life. And it's a story that Tammy alluded to when she touched back into this story. She was divinely guided to that reading by our dear friend, Ann Stormis Gillis, brilliant minister and practitioner. And those of you who are still wondering about that, the reason why I'm saying I know that many of you have heard it is because this story, Mary Morrissey actually unfolded as a pivotal example in her class, Prosperity Plus. And so even if you have heard it before, it is absolutely worth going over again because there is so much applied metaphysics in it. And so this is one thing that we're going to be doing today. Actually, it's the fulcrum that this talk is organized around. And then I do also have one story from my own life, because what I want you all to know as you're thinking about this is when we have these really solid examples and we can say, oh, what that person did, I can do that too. It's really important to remember that for all that we come to know, there's always going to be more mystery. And this stuff unfolds within each of us very uniquely. So that in principle, the principles that are unfolding are universal. The principle through me is not going to operate differently than the principle through you. The principle is going to be the same. It would be like saying, well, if each of us drop an apple, is that apple going to hit the ground for one of us and not the other? Well, no. That level of the law is going to be the same through every single person, no matter what. And the paradox is that how you experience that principle and how you work with it individually, that's the unique part. So when you run into things where you're looking through someone else's life, there's no way to know exactly what that person did or what their journey was. And when something's running through you, there's no way you can describe exactly to another person what you're doing with God because it's so subjective, it cannot be put into words. So I just want you all to kind of sit with places within yourself where you've been in places like that. And as you take this in, this story is extremely challenging and comes through with a fantastic demonstration that completely changed Mary Morrissey's life and actually led to her divine vocation. And the same level of principle is what takes place in the things that don't challenge us and the things that are leading edge. They're like, you know, our dreams come true. The same um, adding up of our thoughts, feelings, lending to our beliefs is what's operative here. And so go ahead with the next slide, please, Vernon. Before we actually listen to Mary Morrissey tell this story, I want us to revisit the teaching symbol for just a moment because it's so incredibly important to realize the circle, everything is spirit. No matter what level it's moving from, no matter whether it's in our thoughts, in our souls, or in our physical lives, it's all spirit. And as the essence of spirit is engaged and activated by the divine spark and then by our use of it, it moves through that central field there. Notice soul is equivalent to law. Law is automated. That's dropping the apple. It's going to happen, automated. And so when you do your affirmations, when you work your affirmations deeply enough to where it gets to where you don't even have to think about it anymore, that it automatically is where you go, that's hit the soul level. And when your thoughts and feelings move into the soul level, that's when nothing can stop that manifestation. It's going to come out in the form of body. Okay? And this is what we're going to be looking at in Mary Morrissey's story. And then I have a story from my life. Hopefully we'll have time. This will be an ongoing process, you guys. So go ahead, Vernon, and show Mary Morrissey's story, if you would, please.
I'm Mary Morrissey. I'm known in the world as the premier trainer in dream building, not just dreaming. Lots of us have dreams. But the art and science of transformation, dream building, how you actually change the results in your life. I didn't just drop in knowing this. I had an experience in my high school years where I was well known in my community. I was vice president of my high school. I was on the drill team. I had a lead in the junior play. I was a homecoming princess in my junior year. At the end of my junior year in high school, I got kicked out of high school because I got pregnant. End of my junior year, I got pregnant. My high school boyfriend had come home on spring break. I got pregnant a couple of weeks, and we had a tasty 10-person wedding. And a couple of weeks later, the principal called me in and said, "Are these rumors I'm hearing about you true?" And I said, "Well, if the rumors are I'm pregnant and married in that order, then yes." And he said, "You have great academics, terrific grades, but you will not be allowed to return here for your senior year. It'd be totally inappropriate for a pregnant girl to get mixed in with the normal girls. But if you want to get a high school diploma, we've got a place for people like you. It's a high school, not held during daylight. It's after dark. It's across the river, part of Portland. Oregon. I hadn't been allowed to drive in after dark. And it's where the pregnant girls and the delinquent boys go to high school." So over the summer, my best girlfriends that I had grown up with, their mothers got together and decided their daughters could no longer see me as if what I had was contagious. So I've been kicked out of my school. I lost my best friends. I drive across the river, park my car, and I'm walking up the steps to Washington High School, which becomes Washington Evening High School after dark. And I'm thinking every girl here is either pregnant or has a baby, and every guy is some kind of delinquent. This is my new student body. I don't know where you were at the beginning of your senior year or where you are right now in moments that might seem difficult for you. But know this, difficulty is not a stranger to the human experience. So that was where I was. I wanted to get a high school diploma because I wanted to be a teacher. I'd always dreamed of being a teacher. So my son was born in December of 1966. I graduated from Washington Evening High School in May of 1967. And in July of 67, I was in an intensive care ward of a hospital in Portland, diagnosed with fatal kidney disease. One kidney was totally destroyed with nephritis, the other 50% destroyed, active nephritis. And it was a death sentence in 1967 without dialysis and transplants. And every physician and every specialist, just, you could tell they really wanted to help me. I was young, I had a baby, but there was nothing they could do. And they simply said if we could get the blood toxin level of my body reduced enough to sustain the surgery to remove the right kidney, then maybe I would have 6 months. Best shot. I'm 18 years old. I've got a little boy. I have dreams for my life. That's a dark, difficult time. So every one of us goes through dark, difficult times, which we'll talk about in some of the framework that I'm going to give you for having a mindset. It doesn't remove the dark, difficult time, but it becomes a navigation point for how you use the dark, difficult time to take you more forward in your life than you would have ever gone without that dark, difficult time. So finally, the surgery was scheduled to remove that right kidney. And the night before, a woman walked in my room asking me, volunteering. She says, I'm a volunteer chaplain. Would you like somebody to pray with you? I come 3 times a week, get the list of those having surgery tomorrow, the order of the most serious surgery first. You're at the top of my list. Would you like someone to pray with you? I didn't really have a relationship that I felt good about in terms of a higher power or anything you might call a higher power. In fact, the religion I was raised in, the church of my upbringing, I just felt like I was being punished. I mean, clearly I was a bad girl. I got kicked out of high school. My best friends couldn't see me. You know, I'm in school with delinquents. I'm a bad girl. And so deep down, I just believed that I didn't even deserve to live, that I must be, you know, God must feel like I'm not even worthy of living and I'm going to die because of how bad I am. That was my belief. And so she just simply pulled a chair next to my bed. I said, oh, okay. And she pulled her chair next to my bed. She didn't do anything that looked like prayer. She talked to me. Now, this is long before there was a mind-body clinic at Harvard Medical Teaching Institute, a medical school. This is a long time before we had any understanding of the biology of belief or any of these things. She simply pulled a chair next to my bed and said, would you be willing to tell me what's been going on in your life the last year or two? And so I told her my story, at the end of which she just looked at me compassionately and she said, Mary, everything's created twice. I mean, it was like over my head. I had no idea what she was talking about. Yeah, everything's created twice. And then she said, you know this. In fact, everyone knows this. Almost no one knows the power of knowing this. And then she said, the bed you're laying on, the nightgown you're wearing, the sheet covering you, the walls, the ceiling, the floor, it's all the machinery you're hooked up to. First, it had to be a thought before it could be a thing. And then she said, you know that if you think embarrassing thoughts, your cheeks are going to get red. And you know that if you think strong enough, scary thoughts, your heart's going to beat faster. And then she said, I hear how much you love your little boy, but I also hear how much you've been hating yourself. You feel like you shamed your school, you shamed your family, you shamed yourself. And now that you're thinking how everything is created twice, could it be possible that all that self-loathing, all that toxic thinking, just with huge emotion around it for a year and a half now, could it be possible that that toxic thinking has something to do with the toxic energy, the toxic disease that's rampaging your body and threatening your very life? Nobody I knew thought this way. And then she moved on and she said, would you be willing to do an experiment? And no one had put anything in front of me. And she says, think about it. In the universe, every possibility exists. You can't think of a possibility that doesn't exist. Taking that possibility and turning it into not first a probability and then a predictability, there's a science to this. But the first step is to know that there is a possibility that you could get well. There's got to be one, because we can think it up. Everything's created twice. And it was interesting because this was happening. I'm 18 years old. I'm scared. But I could tell she believed what she was saying. And she said, would you be willing to do this experiment? Let's just imagine that everything that's toxic in your body that's causing this dis-ease, we're going to place it in that one kidney that's going to get removed. And then after it's removed, the first day or two, you're going to come back from surgery, you're going to have some pain. You're going to be noticing that more than anything else. But as the pain ebbs, your mind is like a rubber band. It wants to keep repeating the thoughts that it's been having, particularly the ones that have been well repeated and packed with emotion. And so she said, what I want you to do is this. Your mind is likely to want to go down those well-worn paths of previous thinking. So I want you to notice what you're thinking. And when you start to notice a loathing, self-loathing thought, interrupt it. and say, no, I let all that go with the kidney. That went with the kidney. And then immediately, because you want to raise your little boy and you want to be a teacher, if you could live, that's what you told me you'd do. So you say, no, that left with the kidney to every self-loathing thought. Then immediately, just imagine you had a little boy, a 5-year-old little boy's hand in your hand. Feel that. Imagine that. Feel the warmth of his hand. You and he are walking up some steps into a school. There's a kindergarten teacher, and you're delivering your son into his first kindergarten class. And he turns and hugs you, and you send him into the class. He's happy, and then you hear the click, click, click of your heels around the corner, and there's your classroom, and you're a teacher. Then fast forward in your mind, and you're in a big auditorium or a big stadium. All these caps and gowns down on the stage, and it's your high school, your son's high school graduation. And you hear his name called. He crosses the stage. He picks up the diploma, waves it up at you in the stands, and you and his family are cheering for him. And you're proud of him for all of what it took for him to be in this moment, and you're grateful for all the moments you had with him in helping him come to this moment. And your teaching career is growing. Then fast forward in your mind, and you're sitting in the front row of a wedding, and it's your son marrying the love of his life, and you're the mother of the groom. How happy he is, how happy and grateful you are to be in this moment with him, and your teaching career is flourishing. Just repeat that. She says, would you be willing to experiment with that? And I said, okay. That's what she said, and she left. And I did notice the next morning when they woke me early for the surgery that I had slept all night. I hadn't been able to sleep all night in weeks without, no matter how much pain medication they gave me. And I just noticed that. Then they took me to the surgery, and the next couple of days, as she said, were pretty absorbed with just dealing with the way they did surgery in 1967. And then over the next couple of weeks, and the doctors told my family that was gathered when they first came out, that one kidney was totally destroyed. The other one was partly withered. It was 50% destroyed with active nephritis. Time would tell. They didn't know how much time. They hoped for 6 months, but time would tell. So after 2 weeks, my numbers had started to stabilize, and they had been stable now for 3 or 4 days. And then the nephrologist came in, and he says, I don't know, maybe you're going to have a little more time than we thought. You could go home as long as you come to our urology office 3 times a week and get your numbers measured. Between now and the time you have to come back to the hospital, you might prefer to be home with your, good support and your family and your little boy. And I thanked him for that. I went home in an ambulance. I was so weak I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow. And my numbers stabilized, and then they subtly started to improve and improve and improve. And about somewhere between the 4th and 5th month after that surgery, I'm sitting in a conference room with the nephrologist, the urology head, the GP, and other people, and they're just scratching their heads saying, we have no science for why you have one kidney. And the surgeon said, I saw it. It was withered, active nephritis. You can see it. It's all nephritic. He says, we have no science for what's happening with you, but that one kidney is now functioning as a completely whole, perfect kidney. So we don't know how long this will last, but whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I didn't actually know what I was doing. I was just happy to be well. And that was so for the next 2 or 3 years until I was finishing up my undergraduate degree. I got myself right in school, got my undergraduate degree, and I took some classes that began to open up some things in me. That this didn't happen to me. That recovery, that reversal in my health trajectory didn't happen to me. It happened with me. And there were some things that I could discover if I went deeper. What was the cause of that? How do you bring that? What is the pattern by which we can actually change the whole trajectory of our life? Even when all the specialists and all the predictors say one thing is going to happen, what happens to those people? And how do we employ that, and how do we work with that? And I got very interested in that. This is Mary Morrissey. I'm really, really privileged and grateful to be with you today. Bye.
So I want to suggest that we take a collective breath together. Certainly that's a lot. And I know it's striking each and every one of you in a different way. There's just a few things after a moment that I want to emphasize here. The first and this very second, I'm just realizing, did you notice that much as Tammy led us through in the meditation, there was everything that was moved out and cleared away. And then she talks about moving in, the visualization of what we prefer instead. Okay. That just about can't be emphasized enough, because this come see, come saw of knowing that we're spiritual beings, yet we're having this very grounded, very formative physical experience, that's not going to change. And the knowing of that ebbs and flows, like those waves we talk about. And when we realize that, not fighting that and being willing to work with the idea of a continuing process of embracing and moving out, clearing out what we don't prefer. And then in that open space, spirit fills a void. So if you do a clearing and then you say, oh, I've done that, that's good, I'm just going to move on, then that space is there. And like the rubber band that Mary Morrissey mentioned, our tendency is going to be to go back to the trains of thoughts and feelings that are running the deepest. And so without that conscious directive of putting in there what we prefer instead, we pivot right back to where some of the things of what we had. It wouldn't be that what you just did would not be effective at all, but it won't be as effective. And so when you remember, oh, I'm clearing out some sludge here. I'm clearing out some of what was. I have this nice clear space. I've just wiped away the whiteboard, and now I'm going to put into this space consciously as a co-creator with spirit. I'm going to now put in what I prefer instead, such as the visuals of holding her little boy's hand, whatever your visual might be. So just remember that you want to work both sides of that. And this is where the relationship between the radical forgiveness and the radical thanksgiving really comes into play, because the more we practice that, filling in what we're grateful for, having cleared out which didn't work for us, then that's what gains momentum. And the last thing, very quickly, I do want to tell you a demonstration that happened for me while I was away, because it's a perfect match to demonstrate that what we're talking about here is a universal principle, and that principle is always reaching for the highest and possible best good. Even if it in the moment just manifested as nephritis in somebody's kidneys, it's still reaching for the best good it can possibly do in that moment. And we think on a human level that has a whole lot to do with whether we've seen something as good or bad. But in principle, whether or not it's good or bad in human terms isn't actually one of the factors that's involved. And the story that I want to tell you right now, what we think and what we feel goes down into what we believe, and what we truly believe and embody inside, that is within our soul realm. Okay, so when you touch in and you think about your eternal self, that's going to be your soul, and how your soul interacts here in this plane. That's what keeps us grounded as spirits having this human experience. So in my soul, I'm a person who lives very, very close to nature. If I go within and I'm living in my internal world, there's not hardly any technology, no electric lights that I see in my internal world. I'm in the forest and I'm cooking by campfire and I'm doing all this stuff that doesn't have a whole lot to do with brick and mortar. It's always been that way. And when I got my first apartment by myself, it went between marriages, I found cargo furniture, which is all hardwood furniture, and it has padding that you sit on. But I never even thought about any of that, except for I knew it smells like hardwood. I liked the way, that looked in my house. And I still have that. That's my office, is made of cargo furniture. And this weekend, I went to Vernon's brother and his wife. They live way, way out in Podunk, Texas, way out somewhere we had never been before. And for the first time after years, we got an opportunity to go and have Thanksgiving at their house. And they have built themselves an honest to God Lincoln log cabin. Everything in that house is hardwood, and you can see where it's been hand hewn and chinked together, and the house has been being built for years and is not complete. And they talked about, and we watched them go through this. When they first moved out there, they didn't have their plumbing in there. They had no bathroom of their own. And they said, oh, well, while we're getting the bathroom completed, we go and we use our neighbor's bathroom. It's like, okay, I didn't understand that at first, but when I landed in that house, I sat there and I looked around and I thought, oh my God, this has manifested right out of my soul and landed in my physical experience. So I want to say one more thing about this, and then I promise we're going to go. Don't forget, if you can see what you prefer, if you can hear what you prefer, if you can experience what you prefer in anyone else's life, bless it, because it is in your experience if you are perceiving it with your perception. And all you have to do is bring it closer in. Okay? And I'm just going to leave that there because I know this has gone long. And I'm just simply going to say, take a breath with me, and wherever this talk has taken you, to the extent, if you're challenged, open yourself up to working through that clearing and putting in what you prefer. If you're on the leading edge and you're like, yeah, buddy, just embrace it and say yes in spirit right here and right now. Life can be this good. Just simply open your heart and mind and say yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And so I let it be, and so it is. So I don't know if we have Tammy.
There we go. I just had to try to unmute there. Thank you, Reverend Vicky. That's such a beautiful, beautiful message from Mary Morrissey about healing, and we can just keep doing it for ourselves. Now it's time for our prosperity affirmation and giving time. Your love and support are so appreciated. We gratefully accept credit card or debit card. You'll see the copy of this in the chat for PayPal or Zelle online, or you can mail a check, a money order, if you so choose, to our mailbox at Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, P.O. Box 43958, Louisville, Kentucky 40253. Please say with me today, together on the count of three, our November Thanksgiving prosperity affirmation together. 1, 2, 3. Divine Spirit is the supernatural sower of all life. I open my mind, heart, and soul now to Spirit's supernatural harvest through me. And I pass the blessing of the gifts to Reverend Vicky.
And I am just simply knowing that all of this has blessed this little basket, and everything everyone has given and everything that everyone is willing to receive. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the ongoing process and the gift of life. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. And now for today's announcements. Would you like to talk about this, Reverend Vicky?
Really, it speaks for itself. Thank you, Tammy. Giving Tuesday is tomorrow, and this is something that we engage not only as a nonprofit, but just in support of the idea in general that everything that is looking to be uplifted needs to have its time and a way for people to become aware. And so that's all we're saying is that uh, for those of you who have a particular time that you'd like to have a special opportunity to give, Giving Tuesday is tomorrow. I'm sorry, not tomorrow, but day after tomorrow, this coming Tuesday.
A beautiful idea. So many people, we have the same energy doing it together, same week. And please join us for this first Wednesday, Spiritual Connection. We're going to be getting together about 7 o'clock to 8:15, about an hour and 15 minutes or so, Eastern Standard Time on this same Zoom link. And Vicky's going to talk about 3.5 billion years of creation, wisdom from the ocean depths. We have our men's group going on December 4th, this next Thursday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Please come and join the guys. They really enjoy their time together, per my husband, Harry. Please join us for the first Saturday visioning. That'll be Saturday, the first Saturday of the month, December 6th, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be not on Zoom, but it's on the Telebridge here, this phone number with the access code. So I hope you can join us. Next Sunday, Reverend Vicky will speak about the delights of the season. We're going to have December holiday movie night. Yay! If you haven't seen A Dog's Purpose, I'm looking forward to seeing it again. It's amazing. So please mark your calendars to join us on this same Zoom, Friday, December 19th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring your popcorn, your snacks, and your whatever you like to enjoy the movie together. And I'll pass this one to you, Reverend Vicky.
Very quickly, I just want to give the report from the end of November. We have really done very well. As you see, our standard budget of $3,200 for the month. Officially, we have presently received $2,450, which leaves us $749 shy, and that's significant. It is quite possible that we have some money in the mail that hasn't quite gotten here yet because of the holiday. That's just an instinct that I have. You'll see there we did reduce our savings by $500. At the time that we had to pay invoices, we had to make that transfer. My sense of it is the potential to put some of that back by the end of the month. This is Sunday, of course, which is the last day. But we will keep giving you these updates. And I just really thank you for your interest in continuing to track how we're doing.
Please join us for sharing time after the benediction. And please say on the count of 3 to each other. 1, 2, 3. We are magnificent. Our closing song is Yes, I Can by Dana Bryant Wilson.
This is sung by Dana Bryant Wilson. It's actually a song that I wrote. And I'm really looking to create an open window, open door to perhaps get this to one of the major musicians in New Thought. I would love to see other churches have this song.
There's no video.
And there's no video for this, so you'll kind of pick up. It kind of goes in around, and we're just going to be blessing each other as Dana sings it.
Can I have all I need? Yes, I can. Can you have all you need. Yes, you can. Can we have all that we need? Can we be poverty free? Can we have all that we need? Yes, we can. Can I surrender all my fears? Yes, I can. Can I surrender all your fears? Yes, you can. Can we surrender all our fears and serenity be here? Can we surrender all our fears? Yes, we can. Can I begin to heal? Yes, I can. Can you begin to heal? Yes, you can. Can we begin to heal and united dare to feel? Can we begin to heal? Yes, we can. Can I realize all my dreams? Yes, I can. Can you realize all your dreams? Yes, you can. Can we realize all our dreams? Life is much more than it seems. Can we realize all our dreams? Yes, we can. Can I transform my whole world? Yes, I can. Can you transform your whole world? Yes, you can. Can we transform our whole world? And in a global hearted circle, can we transform our whole world? Yes, we can. Can we transform our whole world? Can we transform our whole world? Can we transform our whole world? Yes, we can. Yeah. That was a song written by Vicky Jeter. I just changed the melody up a little bit.
So much fun. Before I forget, I just want to say, for those of you who might or might not have recognized it, the piano player in the background was Lo Hale. For those of you who know and love Lo, he is fabulous. And here for our benediction. What great joy should accompany everything we do, an expectancy of love. Love everything, praise everything, recognize all things, believing all things, accepting all things. There is a laughter of God, let us laugh it. There is a song of the universe, let's sing it. There is a hymn of praise, let's praise it. There is a joy, a beauty. There is a deep, abiding peace, let's experience it. And that is by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Amen.